So today we're going to be asking the question, who's going to build the third Beis HaMikdash? Who will be the builder of the Beis HaMikdash in the time of Mashiach? There's a Mishnah in Sukkah, if you look at your source sheet here, on source number 1. There's a Mishnah in Sukkah. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai enacted a number of takanas, of decrees. And one of those were that we all know the halacha is that it's forbidden to eat wheat from the previous year, from the current year, if it's chadash wheat. However, if it's wheat grain from the previous year, from before Pesach, then one is permitted to eat the grain. When is one permitted to eat it? After the korban ha'omer is brought. Once, on the second day of Pesach, there was a korban they used to bring. That was a korban ha'omer. And once they brought the korban ha'omer, one was permitted to eat from the old grain. That was in the time of the Beis HaMikdash. However, when there's no Beis HaMikdash, one is permitted to eat it already from the second day of Pesach, early in the morning, by Alos HaShachar, by Netzach Chama, he could eat the new grain already. However, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai made a takana that the entire day of the second day of Pesach, of the 16th day of Nisan, the entire day, one is forbidden to eat the old grain. That was Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai's takana, as you can see in the Mishnah, V'sheyom hanef kulei aser. That entire day that they bring the Omer, the entire day is aser. So what's the reason? If me'ikar hadin, one is permitted to bring right away, to eat grain right away in the morning, why did Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai say that the entire day it's aser to eat the grain? So the Gemara says, if you look at source number 1 in the middle, my taima mehera yibana Beis HaMikdash, because maybe the Beis HaMikdash will be built very quickly. V'yomru, and people will say, Ishtakai, last year milay achlenu b'har mizrach. Last year we ate early in the morning. So hashta, this year as well, when the Beis HaMikdash is built, nami nechel, so we'll eat also right away. But really, once the Beis HaMikdash is built, it's forbidden to one to eat until the korban is brought. Therefore, we forbid every year in Galus, we forbid one to eat from the morning, because maybe the Beis HaMikdash will be built that year, and then one is required to wait for the korban to be brought. So we say it's forbidden until the end of the day. That's what Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said. But the Gemara asks a question, and the Gemara says, if that's the case, then we all know the halacha that even in the time of the Beis HaMikdash, it's permitted to eat after Chatzos. If you live far away from Yerushalayim, and you have no idea when they brought the korban omer, so you have no idea if they brought it or not. After Chatzos, you could start eating the old grain. Why? Because you could assume the Kohanim did their job, and by Chatzos, you could assume that the korban omer was brought already. So by Chatzos, it's permitted. So the Gemara asks, why did Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai say that the entire day is aser? It should only be forbidden from Chatzos. Because after Chatzos, even if the Beis HaMikdash would be around, it would be permitted after Chatzos. So why did Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai say that it's forbidden the entire day? It should be forbidden every year until Chatzos. Why do you have to wait until the next day? And the Gemara answers, like Tzricha divni b'layla. They're afraid that the Beis HaMikdash will be built b'layla, at nighttime, the night before the second day of Pesach. They'll build the Beis HaMikdash at night. And the next day, it takes a long time to harvest the grain and get the grain ready. It's a whole process in bringing this korban omer, and they can't bring it before Chatzos. And they may have to wait until the afternoon to bring it. And mehera yibana Beis HaMikdash, the Beis HaMikdash will be brought. And people will say, well, last year we had it in the morning, so this year we also had it in the morning. So Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said you have to wait until the next day, until Shkia, in order to eat the grain. Now Rashi, in source number 2, and this is really where we get to the heart of the issue here. And Rashi, in source number 2, brings down an undisputed Gemara in Masechta Shavuos that says that it's forbidden to build the Beis HaMikdash at night. So Rashi asks the question, how could the Gemara say that they may build the Beis HaMikdash at night, and that's why they wouldn't have had time the next day to bring the korban omer? It's forbidden to build the Beis HaMikdash at night. It's forbidden to build the Beis HaMikdash at night. So how could the Gemara say that the Beis HaMikdash was built at night? And Rashi gives the famous answer, if the Beis HaMikdash was built by people, by Bnei Adam, then that's the halacha. The halacha is that you can't build that night. But the Beis Hamikdash ha'asid, and this is Rashi's opinion, the future Beis Hamikdash is not built by people. It's built in Shemayim, and in a circle of fire, it's going to come down from Shemayim and just be plopped down onto Temple Mount. No one's going to build the third Beis Hamikdash. That Beis Hamikdash can come down at night. This is Rashi's opinion. So we have Rashi that says that the Beis Hamikdash, the third Beis Hamikdash, will not be built by people. It'll be built by Hashem in Shemayim, and it's going to come down and be placed on the Har HaBayis.
What's his source for that?
His source for that is a Medrash Tanchuma that says Mikdash Hashem Kainu Yadacha. The Beis Hamikdash of Hashem Kainu Yadacha, it's gonna be created by Hashem. And there are many other sources in Midrashim and Zohar that also alludes to the fact that the Beis Hamikdash, that the third Beis Hamikdash will be built by Hashem and brought down. It's brought down in Zohar. I saw some Sfarim that bring down many Midrashim and many Zohars that seem to allude to the fact that the Beis Hamikdash, that the third Beis Hamikdash will be built by Hashem and be put down onto Har HaBayis.
I'm saying it's just a pasuk.
It's just a pasuk. Mikdash Hashem Kainu Yadacha, and he brings down it's a pasuk that the third Beis Hamikdash will be built by Hashem. However, the Rambam in Hilchos Malachim, Parak Yud Aleph, if you look at source number 3, clearly says otherwise. If you look at source number 3, HaMelech HaMashiach, the Melech HaMashiach, Asir La'amoid, he will stand up, Ulahachzir Malchus Beis David Liyashna, he will return the kingdom of David back to its rulership, Ubayna Mikdash, and he will build the Beis Hamikdash. So the Rambam clearly says that Mashiach will be responsible for building the Beis Hamikdash. So the Rambam clearly argues on Rashi. And the Rambam says that Melech HaMashiach will be responsible for building the third Beis Hamikdash. Now the obvious question is, what does the Rambam do with Rashi's question? Right? Rashi asked on the Gemara that the Gemara says that the Beis Hamikdash will be built at night. But the Gemara in Shavuos says that it's forbidden to build the Beis Hamikdash at night. And the Rambam says that Melech HaMashiach will build the Beis Hamikdash. So how could the Gemara in Sukkah claim that it'll be built at night if it's forbidden? What does the Rambam do with Rashi's question? This is a very difficult Rambam to understand. It's a difficult Gemara to understand, according to the opinion of the Rambam.
One can argue.
But how does the Rambam learn the Gemara in Sukkah? Because it's a Gemara in Shavuos that's undisputed. The Gemara says it's forbidden to build the Beis Hamikdash at night. That's an undisputed Gemara in Shavuos, and no one argues on that fact. So how could the Gemara in Sukkah say that the Beis Hamikdash will be built at night?
So what does Rashi do with the Gemara in Sukkah?
Well, Rashi says that the Gemara in Sukkah is talking about coming down from Shemayim, and that can happen at night. Right, to come down from Shemayim, that can happen at night. But to actually build it, the first and second Beis Hamikdash that are built by people, that's forbidden at night. But the Beis Hamikdash that comes down from Shemayim, that can come down at night.
So if it's built by people, it has to be built by day. If it's
by day.
Miraculous,
then it could be by night as well.
Come down anytime.
You know, when will Mashiach come? If by this,
I don't know when
that.
Mashiach will come.
No, but we understand that if by this or by that, right?
Right.
Hasten in his time.
So what? I mean, it seems that the Rambam says no matter what, Mashiach's going to come and build the Beis Hamikdash. Rashi says it's going to come down from heaven. Now, just as a side point, I want to point out that there's a machlokus in the Gemara. What's going to be in the time of Mashiach? Will the Jewish people live in a miraculous existence, or will they live in a natural existence? And the Rambam is of the opinion that the Jewish people, even in the time of Mashiach, will live a natural existence, not the miraculous existence. We're not going to see open miracles in the time of Mashiach. Obviously, the entire nations are going to recognize that Hashem is in control of the world. Right? V'haya Hashem lamelech al kol haaretz. All the nations will come and they will come to Jerusalem and they will recognize Hashem as king. Yet, the existence will be a natural existence. As in source number 4, you'll see Amru Chachamim, the rabbis say, Ein bein olam hazeh limayis haMashiach el shibin malchus bilvad. The Jewish people will be the rulers over themselves. There'll be a Beis Hamikdash, and there'll be a Jewish king, and they'll be in control of themselves. But otherwise, there'll be a natural existence. I was just thinking that this Rambam really matches the other Rambam, because the Rambam had difficulty understanding that the Beis HaMikdash would come down from Shemayim. If the Rambam is of the opinion that the existence is a natural existence and not a miraculous existence, he would have difficulty understanding that the Beis HaMikdash would come down from Shemayim. So these Rambams seem to fit with each other. That the Rambam on one hand learns that people will build the Beis HaMikdash, and on the other hand he learns that the existence will be a natural existence and not a miraculous existence. But to understand this question on the Rambam, we have to look at source number 5. And that is in Beis HaBechira, in the first parak in Beis HaBechira. The Rambam seems to paskin like the Gemara in Shavuos, and he says, Ein boinin es hamikdash balayla. It's forbidden for one to build the Beis HaMikdash at night. Shenemar ubiyayim hakim es hamishkan. In the day that they established the Mishkan. Biyayim mekayim v'lay balayla. They put up the Mishkan by day and not at night. They were involved in building the Beis HaMikdash from morning until night. V'hakol chayav livnais. The lisayd ba'atzman u'b'maynam anashim v'nashim. Women are also chayav to build the Beis HaMikdash. So this is a very troubling Rambam. Are there any suggestions as to what's so troubling about this Rambam? Yep. Says the Rambam, you can only build the Beis HaMikdash by day. And then the Rambam says, everybody's chayiv to build the Beis HaMikdash. Men, women, and children. This is a very difficult Rambam to understand. Mitzvah Tish as man grama. We know the halacha is that if there's a mitzvah that's bound by time, women are pater.
That's the mitzvah that you...
And if the mitzvah of binyan Beis HaMikdash is only a mitzvah by day and not a mitzvah at night, why does the Rambam say that women are chayiv in binyan Beis HaMikdash?
That's repeating mitzvahs. This is one time.
I'm not aware of that source. If you could tell me that source, that at one time mitzvah, women are chayiv in, even if it's man grama.
Doesn't the man grama mean a specific time? Day
Specific,
time?
only day.
No. I mean a specific day, a specific time during the day. That would be the man grama. In other words, less than this 18 minutes or here. That's the man grama. Okay, you have to light like candles after seis. That's the man grama. But when you have from dawn till sunset, I don't know.
Are women chayiv in the mitzvah of tzitzis? I believe they're pater because they're not chayiv to wear tzitzis at night. So tzitzis, is, according to many opinions, is mitzvah seishas man grama because there's no mitzvah to wear tzitzis at night. I mean, the Rambam seems to say. Okay, we'll see soon that the Rambam does say that it's a mitzvah to build a Beis HaMikdash. But yeah, it's the Sefer HaChinuch in Mitzvah Tzadi Hey. He counts it as one of the 613 mitzvahs to build a Beis HaMikdash. It's a mitzvah to build a Beis HaMikdash. It's mitzvah 95 according to the Sefer HaChinuch. And the Rambam, as we'll see soon, also counts it as a mitzvah to build a Beis HaMikdash.
If it's a mitzvah to build it.
Maybe there's a mitzvah to build a Beis HaMikdash, but in future times we're not going to need to because it will come down from heaven.
Then we won't be able to fulfill the mitzvah
So we won't be able to. What can we do? I'll take a temple from heaven and forfeit the mitzvah.
No, so you don't have to wash your hands in the morning because God will do it for you, right? Just wait.
It's not a mitzvah to build a Beis HaMikdash.
Yeah, but the Rambam says.
Put the last nail in. What's
I don't know, Rashi holds there's no mitzvah. Rashi would seem to say that there is. Why would you say that? Why would you say that Rashi holds there's no mitzvah to build a Beis HaMikdash? What, the first and second Beis HaMikdash, there was no mitzvah to build? I don't know. Interesting point.
Build for me a Mishkan.
What? It's true, but it seems that the Rambam applies that also to future Beis HaMikdash. He doesn't say just the Mishkan. He's talking about Beis HaMikdash. So it's Beis HaBechira.
There it says women donate.
Could be Rashi doesn't hold.
By the Mishnah it says
Could be. It could be. I don't know Rashi if Rashi holds the mitzvah or not a mitzvah. I'm working under the assumption that everybody holds that there's a mitzvah to build a Beis HaMikdash. If you can show me a source otherwise, it'd be very interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the pasuk. I mean, it would be difficult, I think, to say that Rashi holds that there's no mitzvah to build a Beis HaMikdash, but we'll see. We'll see something very similar to that. If you look at so to understand this, that it's mitzvah seish as man grama, why are women chayiv? We have to see the first halacha in Hilchas Beis HaBechira. Right, the Rambam wrote a perek in Yad HaChazaka about the laws of building the Beis HaMikdash. And the very first halacha in source number 6 reads, Mitzvahs asay lasos bayis Hashem. There's a positive mitzvah to build a house for Hashem. Muchan lihiyos makrivin boy hakarbanos v'chogigin elav. In order that we should bring karbanos. So let's clear a hakira. What is the mitzvah of building the Beis HaMikdash? Is the mitzvah of building Beis HaMikdash? Because that's the mitzvah. There's a mitzvah to build the Beis HaMikdash. Or is the mitzvah just a prerequisite in order that we could bring karbanos? It's a hechsher mitzvah. Is the entire mitzvah to build the Beis HaMikdash in order that we should bring karbanos? Or is the mitzvah that we should have a Beis HaMikdash? There's a mitzvah in and of itself to build the Beis HaMikdash and have a Beis HaMikdash. Nothing to do with karbanos. Or is the entire mitzvah just a hechsher, just a prerequisite in order that we could bring karbanos in the Beis HaMikdash? But the essence of having the Beis HaMikdash itself has no significance. It's just a prerequisite in order that we should be able to bring karbanos in the Beis HaMikdash. That's the entire mitzvah. It's a prerequisite mitzvah. It's a hechsher mitzvah. But it's not the mitzvah itself to have a Beis HaMikdash. There's a mitzvah to have a Beis HaMikdash in order that we should bring karbanos in the Beis HaMikdash.
But he doesn't refer to it as a makom to bring karbanos. He says first that it's a house for God, at a place where we will bring karbanos.
It's a good point. However, if we read it as one sentence, mitzvah asay lases bayis Hashem muchan lihiyos makrivin by karbanos. It implies from the Rambam that the entire mitzvah of building the Beis HaMikdash is just a hechsher mitzvah. It's just a prerequisite in order that we should be able to bring karbanos. So if we understand the mitzvah of building the Beis HaMikdash as a hechsher mitzvah, as a prerequisite mitzvah, so
we just build an altar.
There's a very important. So if you look at the chinuch for a second, if you look at the Minchas chinuch, in source number 8. He says here, he's going on the Sefer HaChinuch, Shenamar, u'b'yoyim hakim, u'boinim e'alois ha'shachar ad teis ha'kochavim, v'nira pashut, says the Minchas Chinuch. T'hainu l'chatchila, aval im banu b'layla, vadai einay nifsal ha'mikdash b'shvil zeh. If one would build the Beis HaMikdash at night, it wouldn't be ma'akev, it wouldn't be a big deal. Okay, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. You built it at night? Okay, you built it at night. But it's not ma'akev. If you build it at night, it's still a kosher Beis HaMikdash. Because it's only a prerequisite. Exactly. Like Mr. Silver is saying, that's exactly the point. Like we have, like the Sefer HaChinuch by Hilchas Mila says, how do I know that Mila is pasul b'layla? Because if you would do it b'layla, it's not kosher. So that tells me that Mila, that it's ma'akev not to do the bris b'layla. If something is a mitzvah not to do it at night, if you would do it at night, it wouldn't be kosher. If it's forbidden to do bris milah at night, and it's only kosher to do bris milah by day, if you would do bris milah by night, it wouldn't work to do it by night. It wouldn't be a kosher bris milah. If there was a responsibility to build the Beis HaMikdash only by daytime, if you would build it by night, it wouldn't be called the Beis HaMikdash. It'd be some other structure that you built. If the Beis HaMikdash needs to be built by day, then it'll be pasul. It'll be invalid if you build it by night. So why is the Minchas Chinuch saying that if you build a Beis HaMikdash by night, it's still kosher? The answer is because he learns like the Rambam. It's not really a mitzvah to build a Beis HaMikdash. It's just a hechsher mitzvah. It's just a prerequisite mitzvah that in order that you should have a Beis HaMikdash in order to bring karbanos in. So it's a hechsher mitzvah. You have to build a Beis HaMikdash. But if you would build it, it wouldn't be a problem. Which explains as well why women are chayav to build a Beis HaMikdash, because the building itself is not a mitzvah saseh. It's not one of the 613 mitzvahs to build a Beis HaMikdash. It's a prerequisite to build a Beis HaMikdash in order to have karbanos. In which case, the Rambam says that's something that everybody should be involved in. Women should be involved in building the Beis HaMikdash. Everybody should be involved in the Beis HaMikdash, because, or even if the Rambam does hold that it's a mitzvah to build the Beis HaMikdash, even if it is a mitzvah saseh to build the Beis HaMikdash, but that mitzvah saseh really could be done at night, because if you would do it at night, it would work. if it's a kosher Beis Hamikdash, so it means that the mitzvah also works at night, and it's a mitzvah as well to do it at night. Okay, it's a chatchil. There's a pasuk that says that it's better to build the Beis Hamikdash by day, but the mitzvah is at night and by day, because if they would have built it by night, it also works. So therefore, women have a responsibility as well to build the Beis Hamikdash.
How does the Mishkan work the same way?
What the Mishkan?
Apply the same thing that it's a hechsher, Rambam and all that.
I don't know. I don't know
The
about.
women wove and did all the material.
I suppose women were involved in building the Mishkan because they wove.
They wove the curtains.
The curtains and everything.
That's a good point. I just seen that the Rambam says mitzvah saseh las is bias. So the Rambam clearly learns that it is a mitzvah saseh to build a Beis Hamikdash. Yet he holds that the mitzvah saseh is also at night. It's just lechatchila one is supposed to do it by day because he has a smach from a pasuk that seems to say that it's better to build it by day. But if you build it at night, you also get the mitzvah of binyan Beis Hamikdash. But that mitzvah is to do a hechsher. It seems like the mitzvah is a hechsher for karbanos. Because the Rambam does say mitzvah saseh lasa is bias Hashem to have a hechsher. So there is a mitzvah in doing the hechsher. But the mitzvah itself is the prerequisite. It's not in and of itself. It's not to have the Beis Hamikdash itself.
Calls it a bias. You
calls
don't
it
go
a
to place.
Muchan liyos makrivin by karbanos. Right. The purpose of the mitzvah is in order that we should have karbanos. So if we go back to our Gemara in Sukkah, right, we started with a question here. And I think with this, we can answer the question that we had on the Gemara in Sukkah. Right, we started with a question. What's the question we started with? We started with a question, how does the Rambam learn the Gemara in Sukkah? The Gemara in Sukkah says that the Beis Hamikdash was built by night. And the Gemara in Shavuos says that it's forbidden to build the Beis Hamikdash by night. So if that's the case, how can the Gemara in Sukkah claim that it was built at night if it's forbidden to do it at night? The answer to the question must be that it's true that lechatchila we don't build the Beis Hamikdash by night. But if we do build the Beis Hamikdash at night, it's a kosher Beis Hamikdash. So if Mashiach comes and we need a Beis Hamikdash as soon as possible, okay, lechatchila we build it by day. But if Mashiach comes at 7 o'clock in the afternoon, so we build the Beis Hamikdash at night. We want a Beis Hamikdash as soon as possible. We build the Beis Hamikdash at night. It's not so hard to understand that we would build a Beis Hamikdash at night, and that what? How are you allowed to build Yontif? So the Rishonim asked the question: how are you allowed to build a Beis Hamikdash on Yontif? This is a good question, and the Rishonim deal with that question. That it's forbidden to build a Beis Hamikdash on Yontif. So Rashi doesn't have that question, right? Because Rashi holds that the Beis Hamikdash comes down from Shemayim. But what does the Rambam do? There's Aruch LaNer. There's and Rishonim ask how could the Beis Hamikdash be built on Yontif?
I've always heard that with the Rambam, he's very medactic with his words, and you have to take everything he says very literally. In source 3, he says, HaMelech HaMashiach will come, Uvoyneh Mikdash. So he's saying Melech HaMashiach is going to build the Mikdash.
Right.
So where does the question of women and everyone else come in? If Mashiach is going to build the Mikdash. The Rambam is saying that Melech Mashiach is going to do the construction.
It would be very difficult for one person to construct a building like the Beis Hamikdash. I think it means that he's going to orchestrate. He's going to be the head contractor. He's going to oversee the building of the Beis Hamikdash. I don't know if it means that he's going to bang in every nail and he's going to build and he'll bring every stone into the Beis Hamikdash.
Was erected. Wasn't it just Moshe himself who showed this is how it has to be done, and Moshe did everything?
I mean, Betzalel and there were women that
he did
were
the final
weaving.
assembly. He did the final assembly, Moshe Rabbeinu, but he didn't create the Beis Hamikdash by himself.
So in source 3,
contributions came from everywhere.
Instead of Goldman, which is the cow, you'd expect him to use the Hefil. He will cause the Beis Hamikdash to be built. But the Rambam says Boimer is the cow.
It's a diak. I don't know what to do with that. But I find it hard to believe that the Rambam is saying that one individual is going to build the entire Beis Hamikdash. Okay?
How's he going to get
Perhaps.
the plans approved?
If that's the case, how long will it take to build
It seems from the Gemara that this is also very hard to understand.
Exactly.
It seems that it can happen like that.
That's my question also.
Second day Pesach, 7 in the afternoon, by the Beis HaMikdash.
You blink, you miss it.
That would make Rashi
Right.
it'd be easier to understand Rashi with the Gemara. Like Mehera Yivana Beis HaMikdash. Quickly the Beis HaMikdash is going to be built, and there'll be no time to bring the Karban Omer. That definitely sounds from the Gemara. It's much easier to understand Rashi's view, and it's hard to understand the Rambam's view. Just how do you read the Gemara? Mehera Yivana Beis HaMikdash. What, at 6 in the afternoon? Suddenly, boom! Mashiach built the Beis HaMikdash. I don't know what to do with that. According to the Rambam, it's hard to understand that Gemara.
It's going to be because we're not zoiket to tremendous miracles. That's what the Rambam says. It's what the Orach Chaim says. If you look at the Orach Chaim, he says it's going to be more Madrech HaTeva.
Right, but the Gemara in Sukkah says that it's going to happen like that. Mehera Yibana Beis HaMikdash, and the Gemara says Yibana B'Layla.
He says it's going to be more Madrech HaTeva. The miracles will come, but slowly. He said it's already started, actually.
Yeah. No, the ability to build a building today versus the ability to build it, 200 years ago.
Could be, but the Rambam seems to say that it's going to happen al Derech HaTeva. So there's a very interesting Aruch LaNer here, and the Aruch LaNer has difficulty understanding Rashi's opinion. And Aruch LaNer here on source number 7 says,
Sorry to interfere. I hope we don't have a Tisha B'Av. We'll be a day of the Gula.
Amen. And Aruch LaNer says, right, we daven every single Shmon Esrei. Yehi ratzayin sheyiboneh Beis HaMikdash Meir Yameinu. Yeh tefillah shav. It should be built. Kivan shekvar nivneh. According to Rashi, the Beis HaMikdash is already built. It's in Shamayim. V'haya lanu lehispalel sheyigale Beis HaMikdash Meira. It should say that the Beis HaMikdash should appear to us. Why do we daven sheyiboneh Beis HaMikdash? That the Beis HaMikdash should be built. It's already built. It's in Shamayim waiting to come down. When we're Zocha, when we get rid of all the Sinas Chinam, it'll just come down. It's already built.
That's built for us. For us, it's
built already.
Because God told us to build a Mishkan for Him. That's why. And
but He says,
generally speaking, when God tells us to do a mitzvah, we don't wait for Him to do it. We're supposed to do it.
It's true, but we're davening that we should build the Beis HaMikdash.
Right, because
according
God
to
told us to build
we're never going to have to build it. According to Rashi, we're never going to have to build the Beis HaMikdash. It's going to come down.
But we're told to build the Mishkan.
It's true, but the Aruch LaNer is acting on Rashi. How can Rashi say that the Beis HaMikdash that the Beis HaMikdash is going to come down from Shemayim? Why then do we daven that the Beis HaMikdash should be built? It's already built. It's just waiting to come down from Shemayim.
Because davening holds by Rambam.
What?
Because davening holds by Rambam. That's why.
Maybe Hashem's going to build it and then bring it down right away. Who says it's built?
All right, that's an interesting question.
No one says it's built.
Maybe Hashem hasn't built it yet. Okay, that's an interesting question on the Aruch LaNer. V'lachein hayanir lanias daiti devadei Beis HaMikdash la'asid lavoi yibane binyan mamish bidei adam. Wow, says the Aruch LaNer. Even according to Rashi, people are going to build the Beis HaMikdash. Even according to Rashi. Devadei Beis HaMikdash la'asid lavoi yibane binyan mamish bidei adam. Umashe nemar mikdash Hashem kani yadecha. And this pasuk that says that Hashem is going to build the Beis HaMikdash. Shanidrash Betanchuma, Sheyorid Lamata, who Beis HaMikdash Ruchni. It's only the spiritual Beis HaMikdash. Sheyavoy Latoch Beis HaMikdash Hanivne Gashmi. There's two Beis HaMikdashes. There's the physical Beis HaMikdash and the spiritual Beis HaMikdash. Of course, we are going to build the physical Beis HaMikdash. And the spiritual Beis HaMikdash is going to come down from Hashem. Kineshama B'Teich HaGuf. It's like a neshama inside the guf. Right, a guf is the physical body, and the neshama is the spiritual being. And the spiritual being comes into the physical being. So too, there's a physical Beis HaMikdash and a spiritual Beis HaMikdash. And Rashi agrees that the physical Beis HaMikdash is going to be built by people. But the essence, the Beis HaMikdash, has no halachic status until that spiritual Beis HaMikdash comes down into the Beis HaMikdash. That's how the Aruch LaNer understands.
That's not a commonly held Rashi. understand Rashi. Most people understand Rashi and think the building is going to drop
Yeah,
from the sky.
this is a very big chiddush.
Yeah.
This is a very big chiddush. This is not the simple understanding of the Rashi.
More sense, frankly.
How would you know
Doesn't make
when,
sense.
according to him, when the spiritual one came into
This
it?
Gemara here.
I guess if you're Mashiach, you'd figure that out. But I don't know. I can't answer that.
That's true.
There's so just to end here, there's a very interesting Gemara in Baba Kama, which seems to side with Rashi's opinion as to how the Beis Hamikdash, as to how the third Beis Hamikdash will come down. It's a Gemara. It says, Amra Kadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem says, Alai l'shalem es ha'be'era. Somebody quoted this beforehand, I think. It's upon me to pay for the fire that I burnt. Ani hitzeisi eish b'tzion. I sent out a fire in Zion. I burnt the Beis Hamikdash. Shenamar vayatzis eish b'tzion. A pasuk in Eicha. Va'ani asid livnosa be'eish. Va'ani. This is a pasuk. It's a pasuk in Eicha. Va'ani asid. This is a medrash. Va'ani asid livnosa be'eish. I will rebuild the Beis Hamikdash with fire. Shenamar va'ani eheya l'chaymas eish saviv. I will make the kavod of the Beis Hamikdash surrounded by fire. It sounds like the Gemara in Baba Kama. This is just from the first Gemara in Baba Kama. It seems to say, Hashem says, I will bring down the Beis Hamikdash that's surrounded by fire. So I don't know what the Rambam does with this Gemara in Baba Kama, but it seems from the Gemara in Baba Kama, and this is not a disputed Gemara here, it seems that the Gemara is saying that Hashem is saying, I will bring the Beis Hamikdash with fire, which seems to say that Hashem will build the Beis Hamikdash, not people.
But the proof of the acceptance of the Mishkan in the first Beis Hamikdash and not the second Beis Hamikdash was the acceptance through fire.
Sorry?
The proof of the legitimacy of the Mishkan and the first Beis Hamikdash, and by the way, not by the second Beis Hamikdash, was the acceptance through fire of the sacrifice. Right? That's actually that is legitimizing it by fire.
It's true, but the Gemara seems to say, "Vani asid livnosa beish." I will build it, right, referring to the Beis Hamikdash with fire. Sounds like he's going to build the Beis Hamikdash with fire, not just the korbanos that will be burnt by fire.
The spiritual one, you can do the split.
Okay, if we understand like the Aruch LaNer, and the Rambam agrees to the Aruch LaNer that the physical Beis Hamikdash will be built by people, we could understand the Gemara like the Aruch LaNer. Perhaps. If we understand Rashi, like the Aruch LaNer, then this Gemara would not be problematic. Okay.
But parts of it would have been built by fire. You'd have to cast the rings, cast... You want to
God's good.
God was a good metal caster.
God's going to get out of...
But it seems to say that Hashem is going to be the one that's...
Oxyacetylene category.
Hell no.
God
Something much more primitive.
But if you want just a small taste here, I'll show you. I'll read you a Gemara that would very fascinating Gemara here, a famous Gemara. It says that Rabbi Yochanan was once darshaning in Shir. He was once giving a Shir class, and he said that in the future there are going to be stones at the entrance to Yerushalayim that are 60 feet by 60 feet, made of these tremendous sapphire stones, these amazing stones, 60 feet by 60 feet each stone. And there was a student that didn't believe what Rabbi Yochanan was saying, and Liglav Olavos Talmud, he made fun of him. He said, Rabbi, there's not, if you just learn a little bit of science, you'll know that such stone doesn't exist in the entire universe, and you're out of your mind. And that student went on a voyage, and he had a dream on his voyage. And he dreamt that the angels were cutting these massive stones. And he asked the angels, what are these stones for? They said, well, this is for the future. These stones are going to be for Yerushalayim. In the time of Mashiach, we're cutting these stones already for when Mashiach comes. And the student came back to his Rebbe, and he said, Rebbe, you said good. You darshaned, I like what you said in Shir.
My dream agrees with you.
Yeah, my dream agrees with you. And the Rabbi Yochanan said, it's only because you saw it in a dream. That's why you listened to what I said. And if you wouldn't have had the dream, you wouldn't have trusted me. So he says, where's your faith in the Chachamim? Where's your belief in the rabbis? You only believe the rabbis if you had a dream about it, and the dream verified what the rabbi said. He said, that's a disgrace in not believing in the rabbis. And the Gemara says he looked at him, and he turned into a pile of bones. I'm just reading. It says, Gal Shalat Chamos. I'm just reading the Gemara. Obviously there's deeper meaning to the Gemara. But just to take out from this Gemara, and it seems that the Gemara, I don't know if the Gemara is Pashut Pshat, but in the time of Mashiach, there'll be these tremendous stones of 60 feet by 60 feet. That's an amazing thing. And Rabbi Schwab also brings down a medrash.
Why would the Talmud question him? We had Kriyas Yamsuf, we had everything. Why would he question him?
Because he just couldn't imagine that there were such large precious stones. He says, now we can't even find a stone the size of an egg. He said, sapphire even the size of an egg, he said, we don't have. A stone that's 60 feet by 60 feet, who can imagine such a stone?
And who can imagine to split the water into 12 channels and they can walk through it?
Okay, well, apparently this student couldn't imagine that. I mean, I would have trouble imagining a stone that's almost the size of half of this building. I would also have trouble imagining that kind of stone. It's unbelievable. 60 feet by 60 feet. It's like, that's a massive stone.
Curiously though, things that would be harder to imagine in Rabbi Yochanan's time are very imaginable today.
It's true, but
you know.
But can you imagine a precious stone?
Can you imagine if Rabbi Yochanan had said, somebody will get into a machine and fly from here to here?
Well, I don't think he said that.
No, but if he had, right, he would have been right, and it wouldn't have been imaginable.
All right.
You know, many of the things that are required to build a Mesa Bigdish are much easier to do today than they were at this time. You know, and can be done much faster. Can be pre-assembled. You know, in fact.
All right, this is true.
You know, the whole technology of building is radically different.
IKEA Beis HaMikdash. I'll just end with a pasuk in Yeshayahu, which is actually the Haftorah to my Bar Mitzvah Parsha. It says, Hinei anochi marbitz bapuch avonayich, bisadetich basapirim, isamti kad koidshim shaysayich, usharayich la'avne ektoch, v'chol gevulech la'avne chayfetz. Behold, I will set down gems as your flooring stones, and lay your foundations with sapphires. I will set your window frames with ruby, and make your gates of carbuncle stones, if you know what that is, and your entire boundary of precious stones. This is how Yerushalayim will look in the time of Mashiach. Everybody's homes will be floored with sapphire. So if after reading this pasuk you still want to put in a bid to build the Beis HaMikdash and the future Yerushalayim, you can let me know.